Hey guys, welcome to episode number 256. Today is Monday, so it's Update Monday, and I haven't made a whole lot of progress down here, but I do have quite a few updates to share with you. As you may or may not know, I was away at MACNA last week, which was a ton of fun, but now I'm back. I've got a lot of questions that have been asked that I want to answer, and the first one of those is what kind of Endlers I have in my stock tank. As you guys know, I have the 300-gallon stock tank here with the turtles in it. As I've gone through a few moves, I've tossed a few Endlers in here just to kind of see what would happen. It turns out the population exploded, and I've got probably 200 or 300 Endlers in there. I've got quite a few of them in here as well. I just took one scoopful so that we could quickly take a look at what they are. And you know, I think they might be a little bit of a hybrid between two different color variations. If I was to put my finger on it, I'd say they look the most like a lime green, but they also look a little bit like a red-black bar. So that's probably where the genetics come from there. But because they are sort of a cross, and I can't really guarantee exactly what they are, they're just going to live in here for now. I'm not going to be selling those. They're just fish food and turtle food at the moment. And I actually have noticed bad turtle eat a few of these Endlers, usually in the morning when the fish are just waking up and I turn the lights on. Bad turtle wakes right up, and sometimes she snaps one or two of those up. A little bit of an opportunistic move, but anyways, one other thing I have to share is I've pretty much finalized the design or the layout here, or all the pieces of my Overflow for these tanks. As you see, I still have the canister filter, and I have a few bubble filters hooked up. Right now I'm in the final planning stages of my plumbing here for my tank rack, and I just wanted to walk through kind of how this is going to work out. So we have an ABS bulkhead here. On the back side we're going to have a threaded adapter here, and that's going to go to your hose barb, and that's going to dump into my 2-inch PVC waistline. On the front I'm thinking about doing a slip, and what I'm going to do is attach a T to that. On the bottom side of the T I'm going to use this plastic piping that Gemco carries that fits very nicely into your PVC components, and over that I've got an open cell foam that's going to be pushed all the way up so that no fry can get into that screen. And then on the bottom there's kind of two options. There's this black piece that kind of plugs onto the bottom of there. I can trim this to size. Or what I've done here to save a little bit of money is I just used a typical white PVC cap for the end of that as well. And actually that might be the better option because it does sit on top of the bottom here of the sponge a little bit, and it holds that sponge in place. So the idea here is that this whole assembly is going to allow a lot of water through into this screen, and then up and overflow out of the tank. And if for whatever reason this gets plugged up to the point where water can't get through it anymore, I do have an emergency overflow up on the top of this T, and that actually should make quite a bit of noise if that ever happens to alert me. But this is very easy to change. I can just pull this off, or I can pull this bottom part off, and I can wash that sponge and replace it real quick. So I think that's going to be a pretty low maintenance solution, pretty low cost solution to my Overflow. I might cut that sponge down by about half and get 2 tanks worth of sponges out of that, and obviously keep a few spares of these around so I can just quick swap them out and then clean them when I have time. But all of those components you can basically get from your home improvement store or Gemco, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then over here we can see we've got a couple pieces of PVC pipe, 2-inch pipe, And if we go to the back side, we can kind of see what I have going on here. This is about a 6 or 7 inch slope here from the top. Actually, it's 4 inches difference between this side, and you see it slopes down on that side. And by the time it gets to the barrels, it's going to be much more than that. But essentially, these pipes haven't been cut yet. What I am going to do is add a clean out trap on the end here. I'm going to have 4 T's, one for each one of these tanks along this row, right? And then at the end I'm going to have a snorkel pipe, like a 2-inch pipe going up above the water level here to kind of give myself an air break. And then those pipes are going to lead down around here into the side of my barrel. And you'll see I have a number of uniseals already, 2-inch uniseals. These things are really annoying to try to get into the side of the barrel. Actually, to get the PVC inside of the uniseal is pretty difficult. So I'm really looking forward to that. I actually have a few more on order, because I think what I'm going to do is either put 1 or 2 holes on this side, and then 2 holes here, 2 holes here, and probably either 1 or 2 holes here, so that I can get my regular water flow between these, and then an emergency overflow that kind of sits above all of my media between all of these, because the last one is going to have my my float activated sump within it. But I'll get into more detail on those barrels and kind of how that plumbing works as I put this together. It'll probably be another week or 2. This is just a quick sketch of what it's going to look like, and that probably makes more sense to me than it does to you. But anyways, yeah, so once the plumbing's in, then I'll be able to get my return lines in. Those will only be 1 inch, and I'll probably actually have to suspend the ones up here, and then I'll put another one in here and feed those into the tank. If you saw one of my recent videos, you'll see I did get these adapters here from Gemco. Pretty cool things. And then there is a piece of PVC pipe that has the 1/2 inch thread by 1 inch slip by 1 inch slip, which is pretty cool. So those will be feeding into each one of my tanks eventually. Hopefully all of that will be hooked up within the next week or 2, and I'll be able to actually have this system up and running as a central sump system. But for right now, it's still kind of in the rough planning stages. One other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick as we wrap up is the health of my Endlers. A few of them actually looked pretty thin, and I have been pretty busy lately. I've been just pretty much feeding Ken's flake food, and yeah, I've noticed that they just haven't been as interested in that flake food recently, and so I wanted to mix it up. And at MACNA, I saw a number of pretty cool foods. The people that surprised me the most, I guess, is New Life Spectrum. I'm sure everyone's heard of them before, but it really does look like they have really high quality foods, and so props to them. And these are the items that I've selected to kind of sample out here on my fish to see how they respond. First and foremost, we have the flake. This is the Freshwater Flake. It does have garlic in it as well, which is an additive to kind of make them, you know, have a little bit more of an appetite. Then actually another food that I've been feeding recently is the Hikari Fancy Guppy. The reason is because the granules are pretty small, they're semi-floating, and it seems like even the smaller fish can eat those. But if the smallest fry can't eat those, I do have the Grow Fry Starter formula from New Life Spectrum as well. That stuff is pretty much like powder. You know, you got to be careful about how much you feed, otherwise it can pollute the tank. If this Fancy Guppy food from Hikari ends up being a little bit too expensive, one thing I can do is use the New Life Spectrum Grow formula. This is a 0.5 millimeter. But the downside is it's a sinking pellet instead of a semi-floating pellet, and with guppies and endlers, Obviously they're up on the top more than they are on the bottom of the tank, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Also, this might be a little bit too big for them to eat, especially the smaller ones. And then just kind of wrapping it up, we do have the New Life Spectrum wafers, the algae wafers. You know, guys, I've been kind of on the fence with algae wafers in the past. A lot of times when I feed them, most of them just kind of sit there on the bottom and you have to clean those out. You have to siphon those out daily. It doesn't seem like the fish really go after them a whole lot, and it looks like it creates more waste than it's worth. But I figured as just kind of like a supplement here, something I can put in the tank, maybe, you know, 1 per day. It at least gives the fish something to bite at if they are very hungry, and you can see a few of them in the corner going after one there. So I think it might be worth the extra bio load that it's going to create in the tank, the extra waste that it's going to create, especially because I do have the central filtration system going in here very shortly. You know, this amount of waste isn't going to really add up in the long run. We do have a number of baby marbled crayfish hanging out here, and we do have a few of the baby plecos hanging out in here as well. Many more of those to come, guys. Like I said, you know, once I get that central filtration system set up, all of these tanks will be up and running. Then I'll focus on the air, I'll focus on the lighting, and everything will be up and running, and things will be grand. But for right now, this is kind of what I've been up to and where I am at the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.